So we're going to continue looking at the frame and the trial. So now we're going to look at how you put the frame on the patient and also how you use the trial frame in conjunction with the trial set itself. Now, I did say to you that I was going to use put it on a real person, but unfortunately I've not been able to get a real person. There's not that many people in the building, and people with time, they're all preparing lectures for next term and everything, so I didn't want to waste too much of their time. So what I've done now is I've got George here, and you can see that George is a life-size skull, and I put some plasticine on him to represent the eyes and the ears, and I'm hoping that the plasticine doesn't fall off, because when I've been practicing a few minutes ago the plasticine does fall off, so I apologise if the ears fall off or the eyes fall off, but this gives us an idea of putting the frame on, and we can go through all the bits and pieces, and it's pretty much the same as a real person, except you haven't got a real person being embarrassed to be on a film, and George certainly doesn't get embarrassed because he's a sculpture. Anyway, let's have a look. So we've got the trial frames here, and we saw them earlier, didn't we? And we've got the traditional one, and then we've got the Oculus one. So let's what I'll do is I'll show you how to put them. So first of all, we do the preparation as we went earlier part of the video. So let's make sure that the sides are level, which they're not, because I think George's ears are actually slightly unlevel. So to start off with, we set them up so that they're in line. That's it. And then we make sure that the receiving slots are off to the side. I'm not quite sure if they're called slots, but I'm calling them slots for the purposes of this video. So now we've set the bridge to about halfway, and do you remember with this you get this gnarled thing here, then you can push it up and down, and then you tighten it up. You tighten it up like this, and so we set the PD. Obviously we don't know what George's PD are, we'll have to just set it when we actually put it on his face. So the next thing to do is we check the sides like that. We've got them at that angle, the preferred angle for putting the lenses in. We've set the PD, we've set the height. So now what we do now is we put them on like this. Okay, so what you do is you go like that, you hold them out like that. Obviously some people got really big heads, so you have to go like that. So you judge how far you're going to put it. You see how I've got my fingers on this little bit here, so that I can pull it out and get it around, so I don't poke them in the eye or what have you. So then I go like that, and then I tighten up the back onto the face. Okay, and hopefully I don't tighten it up too much to pull his ears off, but then so we tighten up the sides to get the thing to have it nice and tight. The next thing to do is see if we are centered. I think in George's case we need to just bring them in so that it's more in the middle, or I don't know whether you can see that on the camera, but that's more or less it. Then we would set the heights. In fact, lucky enough, then the height is about right actually, and often sometimes you have to push them back like this, but if I don't be careful to pull George's ears off. There we are. There we go. So often they're angled forward a little bit, just to bring away from the eyelashes and what have you. So often that nose rack thing goes back a little bit. Sometimes with certain types of noses, then you have to make an adjustment up or down, but it's usually best just to have it angled back a little bit. Okay, and I can see now on George it's actually more or less correct. So there we go. And then to take it off again, if I just take it off, then we would then push it back like that, and then we lift it off like this. Okay, so we have it at full extension, we put it on, go on like that, then tighten it up until it's nice and snug, and it stays on nicely like that. Okay. Obviously, no, George hasn't really got a very good bridge to his nose, so it sort of doesn't sit quite perfectly, but as long as I don't pull his ears off, that will be fine. Okay, so that's that thing, and I don't think I'll show you this one because we can get the idea from this one, from the traditional type. And as you know, that one is my favourite type. This type I don't like, and this particular version, because it's got a new side on it, it's very loose. So it's a bit I need to throw this out and get another one. But it's good to have the sides like a nice curve like this, as I said earlier on in the video. See, that's a nice little curve there like that. So let's go now. I'm just going to go into now to putting the lenses in, and you think it would be pretty straightforward, and it is straightforward really, except the little rules that I like to apply to these things. Whether you do or not, it's up to you, but if you do apply these rules, then you will get much more accurate and you don't make silly little mistakes. The first one is that we use this side, which is the left side of the box, but that one is actually going to be for the right side eye, and then that side is for the other side. Okay, and so let's put in some lenses now so that we know what they are. So let's put in -150. Let's put that in. Let's hope George's eyes aren't too close to the lenses. So there's -150 in there, and I'm going to put a plus lens in the other eye, so I want to show you later on how to change plus lenses. Obviously I'm picking them up by the handle like this, and then put them in like this. There we are. And when I'm putting them in, I'm just a little bit of pressure on the back of the trial frame, okay, just so they slide in nicely and I get the first cell at the back, which is where the spheres live. The spheres, as you know, live in the back. Okay, so that's the spheres in. So I've got let's have a look at my box. I've got -150 in the right eye, and in the left eye I've got -1. Okay, next thing we're going to put in is some cylinders, so they'll probably be about the same size. So let's have taking two out at once. That's probably not a good idea to start off with, but anyway, take this one out, so pick them up by the handles, and then let's say that the first one it's against the rule, and we slide it in like this, and let's say it's at 100. Okay, and you can see that they come in and out very easily as long as you've got these at the right angle. Okay, if you've got them at a funny angle, then it's hard to take them out, but at this angle you see they come out really easily as long as you pull them upwards and outwards like that. Okay, so there we are, like that. So that's that one, and we get a cylinder for the other eye, we get a 1 diopter cylinder for the other side, and then we put it in. And if you remember the cylinder axes, they often add up to 180, don't they? So we've got this one here, it's 100 on the right eye, and on the left eye 180 minus 100 is 80, so there we are, it's in at 80. And you can see there's a symmetry here, and this is often the case when you've got people's eyes. It often there's a sort of symmetry between the eyes, and so you've got 180, or they could be 170 and 10 and things. So now, we've loaded up our lenses from the autorefractor, let's say, or last prescription or whatever, or your retinoscopy in fact, because you haven't got an autorefractor, which you had. So what we need to do now is, let's say we're doing our best sphere, we want to change the spheres. Okay, so we take the sphere out. So let's say the sphere wants to go up in power. Okay, now with the minus spheres and the minus cylinders, essentially you can take them out and put them in the box. Person can't accommodate, because when you take the minus out it goes blurry. Okay, so let's say you want to go from -150 to -175. So the best thing is, rather than getting one out, the -175, putting it in your hand and then getting the other one out and then shuffling around. What you need to do is take it out like this in your hand, put it back in the box, get the next one out, put it in where it lives, in the back cell of the trial frame. And so that's changing the minus spheres. And then change it. The same thing can apply to this. Let's say we're doing our cross cylinder. We want to change the 125 up to a 150, let's say. So let's say we change this one out. We put it in here. Then we take the next one out. And then we put it in there. So basically you've just got one lens out of the box all the time. Okay, and this means that you can, if you're doing retinoscopy, you can move your hands up like this, and you know exactly where you are when you get good at it. Okay, you can do it in the dark. You just have to go, oh, I want to go up in power. You just move your fingers up. You don't even have to look at it and read the numbers in the middle. So that's taking out the minus spheres and the minus cylinders. Okay, that's, you can take them out, put them away, get the next one out. Okay, now with the spheres that's different, okay, because if you take them out like this, plus spheres, if you take the plus spheres out, then that person is going, particularly if it's one of your colleagues who are young and got massive accommodation at the age of 20, then they will accommodate massively, and then when you put the lens in, then they'll have to relax, and you'll find that as optometry students, after a while you're able to control your accommodation really well, but the general public, they don't know about controlling their accommodation, and I notice with the third years they don't accommodate anywhere near as much as a real person who is the same age. But so to stop people accommodating, when you take the plus lenses out, you have to do one of two things. Okay, one thing I recommend that you do to start off with, which is the shuffling of the lenses, and I'll show you that now. So let's say we want to go up to 125. This is the 125 lens. I've got it ready. So I get this. This is a case where I get the next one ready. Then you put it in the front here like this. Okay, then you take the back one out where the sphere is. You put that in the front there like that. Then you take it out, and then you put that in the back, then you take that one out. So that person has stayed blurred all the time throughout the procedure, has not been accommodating, and you're losing control of of people's accommodation. So I'll put it straight back in there, because as you know, you're only supposed to have the ones out. Put it straight back in where it lives, and you know exactly where you are. Okay, now when I'm doing it, I don't actually do that. I actually just change them really quickly. Okay, so let's say I wanted to go up a little bit more. I want to go up from 125. I think, let me just see what's in there. Oh yeah, 125 it says on my box, so that must be what's in here. I don't even have to look, but yes, it's 125. And then I want to go to plus 150. So the thing to do is I get the 150 out ready. Okay, and then I get it ready like this. I get my finger on there. Whoops, that wasn't quick enough. Okay, you have to change it really quickly. Okay, and obviously with George, he moved there slightly when I then obviously a person doesn't normally do that, but usually what happens is you've got to change it really quickly like that. Okay, so that the person has no chance to accommodate between changing the lenses. Okay, so if you can change them quickly like that, then do the straight change like that. But usually when you're learning, it's probably an idea just to do the shuffling to start off with, and then as you build up skills with the lenses, putting them in and out more accurately, then you can change them you can change them quickly. And that is actually quite tricky to do. Actually, when I've told the students to do it and got them to do it, then they do struggle to they don't do it. It has to be really quick, so the person has got no chance to accommodate. At the end of the refraction, what you do is you would write it down. I have actually come across some people who actually leave the refraction in there and they put it into the box. I used to work with one person who used to take the glasses off, and at the eye test he used to put them down like that, and then so if he forgot to write it down or anything like that, he would then write it down. But I'm not sure if that's a good idea really. I thought it was quite an amusing way of doing it, but these days with computers where you have to put them in as you go along, I don't think it's that relevant these days. But so what I do now is I take them out, clean off the plasticine. Obviously that's not an ideal thing to have on lenses, and that one's got no plasticine on it, so to put them away, put them away. You see they come in and out very easily when I'm using them. Now the one thing I didn't show you earlier, which I would like to show you, is that often when you're putting them in, it's quite a good idea to just hold the other side and then put them in like that. Don't hold them in the middle like this, because you tend to cover over cover one eye with your hand, and that makes it makes the person, if you're doing a binocular refraction, that makes them accommodate and what have you. So it's quite good just to take it out like that and put it away. Put the next one in. Oh, obviously I wouldn't do that with the plus lenses, would I? Let me just do that again. And let's say I'm doing it with the minus lenses, because those I can change those directly. And if I take this one out, put it away, take it out, and then I just hold the other side and put it in like that. Okay, so I just gently hold it like this, then I can push it in like this, rather than go. I see a lot of people holding them like this because your hand's in the way then, and that's, you want the person to be looking straight ahead and accommodating. So just put them in like that. And obviously with these being a plus lenses, I would actually have to change those really quickly, wouldn't I? Now, what was the other thing I forgot to do? I think at the beginning I forgot to show you